I'm David Wasson with CAPS, manufacturer of the HERT 50-ton high static chilled water air handling unit. This short video is going to go through the setup, installation, and operation of the 100% outside air handling unit. The next step in our setup is to determine how we're going to move the unit. The 50-ton chilled water air handler comes with two methods. The first is the forklift pockets here at the base of the skid. The second is overhead lifting points. There's one in each corner. The unit can be lifted by a single point from a crane or cherry picker. And you always need to check the weight tag here at the bottom, which is one weighs 3,500 pounds, to verify that the forklift or the crane has the capacity to be able to move the unit. The center of gravity is clearly marked on both sides as well for rigging and for safety. The 50-ton chilled water air handler requires 460 volt 3-phase 60 hertz power. In order to identify what you need here for power requirements, you simply look at the tag. You'll notice that this unit needs a minimum circuit ampacity of 19 amps and the maximum overcurrent protection is 25 amps. All the CAPS manufactured equipment has an integrated built-in circuit breaker, so you're only going to need to protect the circuitry of the power and the cabling coming to it. The next step is going to be to hook up our high voltage temporary power to the 50-ton air handler. First thing we're going to do is remove the dust and moisture caps off of our cam lock connections at our main control panel. The first lead you always hook up is going to be the ground lead. You want to make sure the machine's grounded in place before you hook up any of the other L1, L2, and L3. And we're simply just going to go in and plug in our male by female cam locks to the L1, L2, and L3 connections at the chiller, or at the chill water air handler. Now we've got all these secured. We currently have our power source locked and tagged out. So we're going to energize our main lines here. We're going to close the circuit breaker, and we're going to verify that we have power, and we're going to verify if our phase is correct. Okay, we've removed our lock tag out from our power source. We've energized our main cable. Our next step is simply just going to be to energize the main circuit breaker. Both our power light illuminates, but also our phase incorrect light is also illuminated. That indicates that we have the wrong phase going to the machine, and the machine will lock itself out so it doesn't run backwards. We're currently going to shut the power off here at the machine. We're going to go and lock and tag out our main power source. We're going to have to reverse two of our leads here, the L1 and L2, in order to get the phase correct. Please note that you never change the cam locks with the cable energized. Okay, we've removed our lockout tag out from our main power source. We've reversed L1 and 2 here. We're going to energize our main breaker again. This time we have a power light and our phase incorrect light is off, so we are properly phased at this point. We're going to go ahead and open our breaker back up until we're ready for our startup. The next step in our installation is going to be to prime the condensate trap. Due to the high static nature of these air handling units, they produce a lot of high static pressure and the outside air and the delta T across them. They produce a tremendous amount of water, but you first need to prime the trap. Simply use a bottled water or a hose. Simply going to take the water and pour it and squeeze it inside the trap. Here, that'll cause a prime. Now that the trap is primed, it can drain properly onto the ground, or this can be plumbed over to a sanitary spot. Okay, our next step is going to be to hook up our chilled water into our air handling unit. The male fitting going is the inlet, the female is the receive. You're simply just going to take the cam lock fitting there, lock down the cam locks, the gasket's in place. And I'm going to grab the return hose and bring it over. And it's coming off the air handler. I'm going to hook it up here, lock in the cam fittings here and here on both sides. Now we're going to fill up our system, and we're going to bleed the air off the top here, and that'll get our coil full of water so that we can use it for transfer heat. We filled our system up, pressurized it to about 45 psi. We pushed out the water from the bottom up to the top, and your final air bleed points right here at the top. You'll hear the air coming out on there, and you'll continue to bleed that air out while filling the system up, and all the water will go to the bottom, all the air come to the top. Please note you can't operate a chill water system unless all the air is out of the system, because it's your heat transfer medium. Okay, our next step is going to be to hook up the supply air duct. On the 50-ton air handler, you're going to pull the stainless pins, open up the quadrant damper to 100% open, and you can drop the pin back into the hole. We're going to open up the friction clamps on all 4 sides here. We're going to do that for both sides. The 50-ton air handler has got 2 outlets and 4 inlets. I have all those open there. We'll bring the pin back around and lock that. These quadrants here are for balancing air. If one duct on one particular area is longer than the other, use this for air balancing. Then I'm going to take in my duct work. I'm going to verify my direction of airflow. There's my arrow on it. The friction clamps are open at the bottom. I'm just simply going to put my ring on there and lock it down, all 4 sides. That's got my duct there on that side, and I will step over here. I'm going to grab my second duct. And again, I always start at the bottom first and wrap it around to the top. It's a little easier to get the duct ring around the friction clamps. And then we'll lock it in place. And then our duct work is complete. We'll plumb this over into the area that's being served and hook it up to lay flat or into a conditioned space. The 50-ton 100% outside air unit is just that. It's intended to be designed for 100% outside air. The machine can take in 95-degree temperature and in one pass through it drop it 40 degrees. However, we do have duct collars on the inlet. There's 4 of them on the 50-ton with dampers. So it gives you the option to be able to duct it to the space or simply just leave it open and draw in outside air. Again, the machine's designed to take it from 95 degrees to 55 degrees in one pass. So it's very versatile in whether you hook it up for return air applications or 100% outside air applications. Okay, just to recap where we're at, we've set the unit in place on a stable level surface using a fork truck. We verified our weight and our lifting requirements for setting the equipment where it needed to go. Our next step was to check the power requirements. We verified that we have enough power to run the machine. We hooked up our power cables, and we initially had the phase incorrect. We reversed 2 leads. We've got that correct now. We've hooked up our ductwork to our supply. We're in a 100% outside air application. We've primed our condensate trap, and finally we filled up our chill water lines going to the coil, and we've bled all the air out. So the next step is we don't need our gloves anymore. The rest of this is all finger safe. We've turned our power on here. We've switched the system to VFD mode. You have the option to be an off VFD, which is variable frequency drive for the fan motor, or a bypass, which bypasses that and you run straight 100% air. We've turned it on. We're loaded on the VFD, and it's simply to start the machine. You've got a potentiometer here that goes from min to max. And this is how you turn the airflow up on that. You can adjust this by whatever the job requires, static pressure-wise or by temperature-wise. This will increase your air to the right, which is where the max sticker is here now, or back down to the minimum. Now we're at full speed. The machine can run 6,000 CFM at 5.5 inches of static pressure. It's winding up now, and it simply balances it. Just pull this